This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we're going to be installing a laundry center. This is an older one that's been put into a new apartment. So we're going to go over how you can hook it all up in terms of the water lines, the drain lines, and the gas lines. First thing I'll do is remove these two Phillips head screws here from this panel so I can remove this panel. It's going to give me better access to where I hook up the vent line for the dryer. And in some cases it can also allow you to get to your water connections behind the washer dryer. On this one the connections are to the side of the washer and dryer. So I'll zip out those screws. And we have it unplugged. At this point, we're going to lift up, pull back on this panel, get that out of the way. There's the dryer vent that comes from the dryer and hooks to the dryer vent tube. But to get to all this, we're going to pull the machine out. So I've opened up the door and I'm grabbing the inside of the frame. I pull a little to the right, a little to the left, and I'm gradually getting the machine out. One thing you could do too is you can spray some Windex underneath the feet below the washing machine so it can move a little bit easier. In this case what I did is I put a blanket underneath. You could use a towel, and what it does, it just breaks the friction. It's going to make it a lot easier to get that machine out. This one is on a drip tray, so I put that blanket underneath the drip tray. I did that by pulling the machine toward me a little bit, maybe about a foot, and then I leaned it upper part back against the wall so I could slip a blanket underneath. I just used my feet to get the blanket underneath. Now I'm grabbing inside the door well and pulling out. So I got the machine out enough where I can get behind it. I'm removing the old hoses. I'm going to be replacing that with some new hoses. Sped up the camera here a little bit. And I also checked the inside screens as I did this to make sure they were clean. So I'm going to tighten this one up with the pliers. And this is H for hot, so make sure we get the right ones. That goes to the red valve, right? Because that's for hot. We're going to screw that on. The best hoses, by the way, are a little bit different from these. They would be with a metal braid around them. They're a little bit harder for them to burst. These are brand new rubber hoses, so they're pretty good. I turn on the hot side. I'm just making sure there's no leaks. Then I'll do the cold side. It is wise to get long hoses, maybe 6-foot hoses, so that it makes it easier for you to get the machine out later if you have to repair something, because it's kind of in this closet or cubby hole. And if you have long water lines, a long drain line, you have a long gas line and long vent tube, it's easy for a technician to then pull the unit out to service it. If you don't do that, it's a little harder. Sometimes you actually even have to climb over the machine in order to do some of the connections or disconnections. This gas line is actually a little bit too short for this arrangement. So what I ended up doing is installing the gas line by pulling the machine toward me and getting it nice and tight. But I was effectively trapped, so I had to climb over the machine. So I'm putting on this compression fitting. You don't need pipe thread on these compression fittings. They're the ones that are connected right to the gas line, closest to the gas line. If it has an adapter, usually those do need some pipe thread, so Teflon type pipe thread to make a nice gas tight connection. So I'm getting that nice and snug with my wrench, and then I'll connect the other side. To climb over, I just put my foot in the access area near the gas line and lifted myself up over the dryer and then came down the other side, which is not ideal, but it did work. Got over to the other side, pushed the machine in a little bit, and now I'm going to sit down, put my feet on the tray, grab the inside of this door well that's next to it, and use my leg muscles to push this heavy unit back into position. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to get these things to go back in. With these drip trays underneath it, it's even a little bit tougher to make these things move. but that blanket underneath really does help to break the friction. So I got it almost in position. I want to pull the washing machine all the way to the front of that drip tray. So I'm keeping the drip tray still with my feet and then pulling the machine toward me. Now I'm going to use my leg muscles again to push further back to get this machine all the way back in. Just take your time here. You got to make sure you're not crushing the dryer vent hose by pushing it too far back. Now I'm going to lift up a little bit on the machine and pull the blanket out from underneath. And again, if you don't have a blanket, just using something slippery like Windex is pretty good to break the friction of the washing machine feet against the floor. So we do the dryer vent tube now. We put it over and just take your time, finagle it over the end, and then get it in at least about an inch, even more would be better, of the vent tube going in over the part hooked to the wall. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten that down with a clamp. These little bit thicker dryer vent tubes are superior to the super flexible ones. These are less likely to rip. So it's a little bit better to use this type. This arrangement though, where the dryer vent heat and gases have to go up and out to leave the apartment, is not great because it makes the dryer lint collect down near the lower portion where it's connecting to the dryer. These are more likely to clog, so not ideal. If you have this arrangement, you have to clean it a little more often.
Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate your support. And when you get a chance, please press the subscribe button below so you can be subscribed, and also the notification bell so we can send you more videos about appliance repair. Please also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you really liked the video and it really helped you, please press this new applaud button and you can show your support and also get a nice clapping hands for your video. Thanks again.